Well, here we have the question from Cesar Fernando from Mexico. Let's see what he says. Greetings, Sheij Qomi. I am Cesar Fernando from Mexico. My question is whether there is any equivalent to the Jewish Kabbalah in Islam, equivalent to Kabbalah or theories that attempt to explain the essence or nature of God beyond simplified popular religion. Thank you. I hope I have made myself understood in my question. Very well. Let's see, dear brother. In Islam, there is something called Al-irfan, the deep knowledge of God, and Al-marfa. A person who has reached that place is called a mystic. It has two components. Perhaps we can translate it as mysticism, the path of the mystic, in theory, in practice. In theory, you and I can all read it, but without understanding it. Of course, because it talks about the steps, like climbing the mountain. It says here is a rock, and then this. But a person who is going to practice Irfan in Amalis 2001, the paths of mysticism in practice, then you will see it, you will feel the part of Al-irfan in Nazari, which is mysticism in theory. Everything is based on philosophy. Philosophy coincides with philosophy. So we have something that is a combination of philosophy and mysticism, called Al-Hikmah 2001 Hikmate el-Mutal, which is from Mullah Sadra, who we can say is the master of thought of Imam Khomeini, who is a mystic philosopher. The collection of these philosophical and mystical teachings. So it is not just things that are beyond the intellect, but everyone has intellectual steps to understand the world beyond, where the center of the world beyond is God. I am not an expert on the text of Irfan Nazari, on theoretical mysticism. There are books on that. I have it. There are things about that which I can explain to you, that some focus on knowing the nafs, your essence, 2001, which says it is a ray of the light of God to reach God. Some others say that one must start from the same light of God to reach God. Then many things begin there, many details. So the practice of Irfan Nazari, or rather, practical mysticism, consists entirely of the first step, which is to abandon all sins. And that is the first step. Once you have fulfilled the mandatory rules and the prohibitions in Islam, the law of Sharia is called, and there are more than 650. Once you have established it, then begin to perform many recommended deeds, starting with the recommended prayers. Then your teacher teaches you how to recite the Quran in a specific order. For example, he tells you to recite Surat Al-Yasin in that order. There is a specific number. So when you reach such an aleha, you repeat it in such a way, then it means your mystic master, after you have attained absolute piety, which means not committing any sins, and starting to do many recommended deeds. That is where the personalized recipe begins. What is it called? Customized, individual, who can give it to you? The master. Not everyone wants to be called the master. So the master begins with you. When they are going to evaluate if you are a pious person, they will check your spirit, as they already have that power. So you, if you are a sinful person like me, who shows off and does things, God forgives us. Then the mystics say, look boy, first go and have taqwa. Many mystics, when we went to ask them, would say, boy, go first and have taqwa, which is like saying, shut up, don't ask me any more questions. When you do not fulfill the very least that God has taught you, which is taqwa, to abandon sin, to perform prayer on time, and to forsake all sins. Now another question does not arise about asking for a spiritual recipe. It's like saying, stupid, go fulfill what you know, and God will teach you the rest you need to know. And that is true. So you need to go look for a teacher. No, don't be mistaken. Why? When you fulfill your part, God will place the teacher before you. That is the rule of Irfan Amali, which states that if you do not have to worry about seeking a mystic, when you fulfill what you know, God is responsible for teaching you what you need to know. That is the first lesson of mysticism in practice. The problem with us is that we are largely unbelievers. What does it mean to be an unbeliever? We hide the truth for our own interests. That is why we will never surpass the need for absolute compassion to require a teacher, so that God may provide us with a teacher. Some people, God placed as a teacher in the dream, and in the dream, they saw their teachers and were taught everything they needed to do. Do you understand me? The problem is that we are so attached, so clinging to the material world, so attached to the material, that the love of sin keeps us tied to the material world. Haram music, sexual sins, I don't know what else. We speak ill of absent people, and many other things. So that doesn't allow us to escape. We are in the underworld. We do not go to the surface to need more light. We are worms of the underworld called sin. Because we live in sin, we must move away from the idea of original sin, which is a lie. Note, no, voluntary sin, which you commit. When you know it is a sin and you do it knowingly, that is called sin, because we are all born pure without sin. When you deceive your friend in business, when you charge more, when you don't do the work perfectly, when you don't pray, when you don't fast, when you have a morbid gaze or pornography, many sins. If you review your actions each day, there is a long list of sins that you are committing. You eat pork, you consume blood, you drink alcohol, you handle a girl who is not your wife. All of that is sin. It's not that it isn't the law, but the law of God is present here. Read the letter of James, read a little of the Bible, be careful, you all don't even read the Bible, that's the problem. Does it say, where your book is, I follow the Bible, but go ahead, which part of the Bible? Writings of Paul the Pharisee. But doesn't Jesus tell you not to follow the Pharisee? It doesn't matter what Jesus says, so why do you care about the Bible? It's just that you only follow things. The letter of James, let's see if it's in the Bible. I heard it in an audio. There is the letter of Santiago. Very good. The letter of Santiago. I want to read it to the brothers who want to know. Look, the truth is, I was listening to that word yesterday before going to sleep. Very good. I liked it. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, servant of Jesus Christ. To the 12 tribes that are in dispersion, greetings. My brothers, consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. But let patience have its complete work, so that you may be perfect and complete, indeed truly lacking in nothing. And if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all abundantly and without reproach, and it will be given to him. That is what I told you is in Islam. It is in the letter of James. That is the Bible I have in my hand. Do you see? You abandoned the Bible. That's why God is going to punish you. Santiago, what does it say? Anew, let patience have its complete work, that you may be perfect. You have to do the work of God on earth. What more do you want? My God, if any of you lacks wisdom, the truth is that you have fulfilled everything you have known, and still lack wisdom. What does it say? Ask God, who gives to all abundantly and without reproach, and it will be given to you. But ask in faith, without doubting at all, for the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea that is driven by the wind and tossed from one side to another. Let not the one who does such things think that he will receive anything from the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It means that once you listen to Satan, you return to God again. That will never lead you to the path of God. The brother who is of humble condition should glory in his exaltation, but the one who is rich in his humiliation, for he will pass away like the flower of the grass. For when the sun rises, scorching heat, the grass dries up, its flower falls, and its beautiful appearance perishes. Thus, The rich man will wither in all his endeavors, and more. When death arrives, then those words, the truth, reach the heart. That Santiago, that perfect man, that apostle of Jesus, walks with Santiago, walks with him. He has very good words. But well, I haven't read everything. Some words that you read from Santiago and also from San Pedro are very good, very good. It comes from the heart and reaches the heart. And I hope it doesn't have. I haven't read everything, mind you, but some parts that I have read resonated with me. And the word of Paul, who is a Pharisee, we reject that. Not everything. Some of Paul's words are also from the words of the prophets. Some are. How can we understand which part of Paul is good and which part of Paul, that Pharisee, is bad? What aligns with the prophetic teachings? What aligns with the teachings of the Holy Quran, if it is from God? And the rest are invented by Paul to mislead Christians. What Jesus warns us about in Matthew 23 is not to follow that Pharisee. Very well. God bless you. Be careful, gentlemen. A big hug.